Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another viewer cast. It has been a significantly long time since I've done a viewer cast, but today we've got a PvT submitted here by DPK's Axe. And yeah, so you guys are probably like, where the heck have you been for the past week? And I'm probably gonna be like, well, my other computer kind of died again, unfortunately. So yeah, minor issues. Ran into some CPU heat issues, and that, you know, whenever your CPU starts to overheat, things start to get a little bit dicey. So yeah, so we are back on the Mac doing videos once again. It took me a while to get things set up and really kind of reorganize my thoughts, because yeah, I'm a little bit frustrated with my other computer, but nonetheless, we are going to be taking a look at this PvT. Now, X is a silver player. This was actually his placement match. He got into this placement match. I don't know if you all saw the banter about placement matches and whatnot. But yeah, so basically what this is going to be is we're going to talk a little bit about just his playstyle in general, my thoughts and things that he should probably look at as far as improving. He is hoping someday to get into Diamond so he can play in the Battlegrounds. I believe the last one was at Atlanta, the next one will be at Detroit, but yeah, looking to get into Diamond so he can qualify for the Battlegrounds and get into that. That would be absolutely awesome. So yeah, so we're just here helping him out, figuring out what the dealio is. So yeah, basically at this point, major comment so far is I know he's had a little bit of pro production slippage here in the front. Generally speaking, pro production needs to be 100% constant for the first 10-ish minutes of the game. So that's definitely something you need to make sure that you consider. That will actually alleviate a lot of problems as far as like this major supply deficiency so in the early game, and then it will also give you a little bit, you know, just keeping constant pro production keeps your economy flowing and really helps you snowball into your mid game. And then also, you mentioned in your email that you probably shouldn't have gone for this Stargate type play. Now, if you do not have constant probe production for the early stages of the game, see, normally at this stage, you've already got Warp Gate research. You would already have fully saturated on the minerals and fully saturated on both gases. And you know, obviously not having that delays your Stargate significantly and also delays your Oracle. And basically, if you delay both of those pieces of tech, your Oracle's going to show up in here and may or may not actually be able to get a whole lot done, because the point of the fast Oracle is, hey, my opponent's probably not going to have a whole lot of Marines, might be able to get a lot of damage done really quickly. And as we see, he does have 5 Marines. It takes 6 Marines to kill an Oracle, so doesn't quite have enough yet, but like I said, the Oracle's going to be delayed enough that even all of these, yeah, he's still starting to produce Marines again. He's even able to get his add-ons and kind of keep things rolling for him. So your Oracle is just now in production, so it's going to be way late. This usually shows up at around now. This is about the time when it shows up in your opponent's base to get some real damage done. So a little bit of a miss there. And then behind this, you've been chrono boosting out your Warp Gate research. Now, obviously, you're trying to go for some type of 4-gate pressure, timing, whatever. If you're going to open up with a Stargate, I highly recommend only going for 3 gates, as you have here. You do end up planning down this extra gate relatively soon, if I recall. I think right now, at this point, you're just kind of microing the Oracle. But yeah, your Oracle's going to get... Yeah, there it is. Your Oracle's going to go in and kind of... I think it gets a handful of kills, but overall, not a whole lot. Now, just kind of as a reiteration of the probe comment, if you do have full saturation in here, you're going to be able to get this expansion down and actually start producing units, because there hasn't been a whole lot of units produced. As we can see, you just now kind of evened out the score as far as the supply is concerned, but looking at the units, he's already got 7 Marines, 2 Marauders. The only thing that you've got is a single Zealot, a single Stalker, and then the Mothership Core. Now, the Mothership Core will be able to deal with any early type aggression, photon overcharge, things like that. But in general, you just don't have a whole lot of units at this point. And obviously, your opponent's taking an expansion and really starting to kind of extend his lead. So, as far as openings for Protoss in this matchup, Stargate is a viable option. It does tend to be a little bit more micro-intensive, so if you're not necessarily too terribly comfortable multitasking significantly, I highly recommend not opening Stargate versus Terran. I think a safer play is going straight into your Robo, or even going for a Twilight Council to do a little bit of blink play. I find those two strategies tend to pan out a little bit better for me than the Stargate, just because I know personally I don't have the micro capability to keep track of everything and then keep my macro up to snuff. So you're going to be sending your probe down to take an expansion, but once again, I mean, at this point, it's kind of hard to continue on. We're almost at the 10-minute mark. You're just now taking your expansion. Ideally, an expansion goes down between roughly the same time that your opponent does in this matchup. So you're going to be looking to take your expansion when you see your opponent take his expansion, and then basically stay toe-to-toe as far as economy is concerned. So he's going to go ahead and push out here. Now, the only thing that I would critique about his play, normally you would see him to get a starport and start to get his 2 medevacs at a time, but he did go ahead and play for the more gas-intensive siege tank, and as a function of that is going to be able to be really, really aggressive and really get in here. So this is about the time where we start to see things diverge as far as probe to SCV count. He's going to come in here, take down some pylons. You obviously can't open anything. And he's actually going to get a cancel out on this Nexus. Now, one comment, you could have let this finish. It would have been a little bit more risky, but had you let this finish, your supply would have gone back up, and you would have been able to warp in some more units. Also, you would have been able to go ahead and plant down a photon overcharge, which might have deterred him from coming up in here, which means, you know, you might actually have been able to hold this off and keep your expansion. So just something to note for next time you ever get into that situation. So you're going to actually go ahead and send some units in here. Now, 2 Stalkers, and basically Stalkers and Sentries versus any Marine Marauder type force really isn't going to be that great. You really need the Zealots to tank the damage output from the Marines and Marauders especially, just because they do so much damage against Stalkers. They do double damage to Stalkers, 20 instead of 10. So definitely really need to consider, obviously when your opponent's attacking you at the front, you want to try and kind of like deter their attention back here, but at the same time, you've got to stay alive. So as you can see, starting to diverge a little bit more as far as SCVs, and now you're starting to push out. Now, at this point, you're on 1 base. Your opponent, you know, is on 2, as far as vision is concerned. And you know that he's fully saturated, which means he's probably got better production than you. So moving out into the middle of the map like this is really, really scary, just because you're not really given the opportunity to really get anything accomplished. You could move up the ramp, but you're probably going to find that he's got a giant ball of Marines and Marauders, which are a little bit misplaced, but, you know, it is what it is. But you can see he's already kind of like building up his defenses to deal with it anyways. So he's already in a really good position, and there's not really a whole lot you can do about it. He's starting to get upgrades and whatnot, and you start to build Void Rays. Now, I don't mind this, but these Void Rays are going to be way better off in your army than they are going to be doing like some type of push back here to distract or whatever. I find that the composition that you're going for, while it can be useful in the earlier stages of the PvT matchup, I do think it is a little bit you don't have any area damage units like Templar or Colossus. So basically you're forcing yourself to have a bigger army than him, just because he's going to have a significantly higher DPS output. So getting upgrades, still only on 4 gates, and just now getting your expansion up. So you can see how you've already kind of snowballed behind, and your opponent's basically just going to be moving out and getting a lot of damage done. And you move up into this really odd positioning. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to do here. But in general, if you're going to leave units out in the middle of the map, it'll be either observers or maybe a zealot here or there in kind of key avenues where he might come around. So maybe a zealot here and a zealot here, just to keep an eye out when he's going to come. He actually goes ahead, throws down the scan into your natural, sees that nothing's there, so pretty much free reign for him to walk in and siege up. There's really not a whole lot you can do at this point. You can either recall back, which I wouldn't recommend, just because you'll recall and then you're going to stand there and kind of is what it is at that point. And I think that you actually recall back to the main to try and defend it off. But at this point, you don't. I mean, you've got a fair number of units: a single immortal, 10 stalkers, a couple void rays, and a couple zealots. But zealots really can't do a whole lot in this kind of configuration. They'll get stuck down at the bottom of the ramp, which will just kind of go to town. And you even get into this kind of small position here where it's like none of your units are really doing anything. So you come down here, a lot of your army just kind of melts. And that's kind of more or less it, because let's see, your void rays haven't moved out quite yet. But he's just got units streaming across the field, and it kind of is what it is. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pause here, because I think that's really all I have to say about the video. The main takeaways that I would say are definitely make sure your early game pro production is up to snuff. I generally try to shoot for around 2 base saturation minimum by the 10-minute mark. If you can't really achieve that, then things are going to be really, really hectic. As you can see, I mean, it's just kind of painful when you're stuck on 1 base, your opponent's on 2, and, there's nothing you can do about it. Also, area effect units, definitely Colossus Templar in this matchup are very, very, very crucial. The only instance when they can be a little bit underrated is when your opponent goes for mech, but my guess is you probably won't see a whole lot of meching Terrans in the lower leagues. That would just be my guess. Not to say that you won't, but definitely probably more so in favor of Marine Rudder Medevac type builds. And then just in general, I didn't feel like your build had made a whole lot of sense. It's like you were trying to do this proxy Stargate stuff, but didn't really, you weren't committed to it just because you got up 4 gates and were like, oh, I'm going to be aggressive with it. So really hammer down a build and perfect that. Like, there are a lot of really standard builds out there. Like, if you want to do the proxy Stargate, follow it up with like a 3-gate expand, and then depending on how much damage gets done, you can either apply pressure, or if it doesn't get a whole lot of damage, you have enough to defend what your opponent's going to be doing, but you're not like sacrificing the economy completely, because by getting that 4th gate, obviously you're going to want to produce units out of it, but you might not have the economy for it. So getting up that expansion a lot faster is going to help you out a significant amount, I think. So I think that is it. That's all I had as far as kind of the analysis of the game. I'm not going to get too much into like upgrade timings and things like that, just because Silver League, like Bronze League, I tend to focus more on pro production as well as early game build orders. Those are like the 2 key things. And actually, speaking about just kind of generalized strategies for the lower leagues, over the past week, since I've had some time to think about it, I'm actually planning on doing a couple series for anybody who's interested. I'm going to be kind of doing like a video blog series for Bronze, Silver, and Gold, and go a little bit more specific details on how I approached ranking up through those leagues. I think the Bronze one will probably be called like breaking out of the Bronze League or something like that. And I'll really kind of hammer down the approach, basically some of the things that I did in order to make playing the game a little bit easier and really understanding the mechanics a lot better. and then also give you some build orders that you guys can use and master in order to kind of improve your level of play, as well as give you something to fall back on if you ever run into a situation where your opponent cheeses or things like that. So definitely be looking out for that in the future. I'll probably be doing an update vlog for the channel relatively soon. I've been thinking about it quite a lot, and give you guys the lowdown on where the channel's going and kind of my thoughts. So yeah, so Axe, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to let me know if you've got any other questions about anything that I said. Good luck in playing the ladder. I wish you all the best luck in the world to get up to Diamond League. I'm not sure, you know, obviously you got a little bit of ways to go, but, you know, just keep on trucking. I'm sure you will improve over time. And yeah, feel free to hit me up with any questions. Also, if this is not Axe and you enjoyed the video, feel free to go ahead, hit that subscriber button, as well as feel free to leave a comment with any suggestions that you might have. You know, Chaos Esports Production is a community of players to kind of, you know, feed off each other and really hone down your skills, help you get out of the lower leagues. I focus on being really realistic on helping people get up at least to Platinum. That's kind of been my focus. I'm in Platinum League on both my Protoss and Zerg accounts. Not quite back up to Diamond yet on the Protoss account, getting there. But really going to be focusing a lot more on content that is geared toward kind of the lower leagues here in the future. So definitely keep an eye out for that update vlog video. And I think that is all that I have. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.